What's going on, beautiful people? Title of the video: Why do women keep hurting me? And this is something I can say for myself. And it's a question that I want many of you all to answer for yourself. And I want us to not get into this space of just taking it, grinning and bearing it, because we're easy to just turn it over to Jesus. We're easy to say things like, oh, well, Jesus had his Judas, and that's just what people do. And that stuff sounds good. But the reality is, when you have attempted to pour your heart out to people, to be a voice of reason in the community, served in your church, worked as an entrepreneur to empower women, and giving your all, it seems like the ones you give your all to are the ones who keep on hurting you, putting their mouth on you, abandoning you. It can become very overwhelming. And so, for me personally, there's a lot that I had to go through and discover for myself, because I just honestly I couldn't understand it. And yeah, I was like, yeah, well, rejection is just a part of the territory. And my mother gave me up when I was 18 months to my paternal, grandparents. And so abandonment, I've already suffered with an issue from that. And my thing is I just don't want us to be in this habit where it is very easy for us to explain away stuff. So if you've worked with the coach, if you've been with the therapist, you've listened to enough positive people, you could find yourself saying those kind of statements, but it still does not change what's happening in your heart. It still does not change how you feel when it comes to the betrayal. And so if you're not careful, you will end up re-triggering that same behavior and betraying someone else. So a lot of us are in the dark. We're really in the dark. We don't even realize when we're hurting someone else, but we definitely know when we're the ones that have been hurt. And so I want you to think about something. Part of the reason why women keep on betraying you or keep hurting you has to do with several things. We're not here to discuss them all. We're not even here to put them in order, but I am here to challenge your thinking and to see where you're at. One of those reasons why is because you don't trust women in the first place. Yeah, we're not going to put it on them. We're going to start with ourselves first. Now, I don't know about you, but I had to realize I just really didn't trust women. And a lot of people think I'm an extrovert, but I am an introvert by nature. Like, I'm the girl who used to go to the club by herself, go to the movies, take myself out to eat, and be just as content. Where some people are like, oh my God, that's insane. I would do it in a heartbeat. Did I have my clique of females that I would roll with? It be like, yeah. But I remember being 19 years old, and one of the girls that I was friends with, her boyfriend, and then when they the same night they convinced me to go out, they broke into my apartment and stole my stereo, all kinds of stuff. And they knew they had time because they even reheated up some leftover pizza and ate it. So I'm talking about like 19 years old. I was in the Section 8 Mod Hab rehab program in St. Louis. And so betrayal after betrayal after betrayal, my shit runs deep. And so you could imagine that there's this little about me that may have been a little bit standoffish. Some of you all don't even realize it, but you kind of give off a vibe or an air that says, I don't really know. And so if you don't have the freedom to be fluid and to be yourself in relationships, then people can't always explain it. Like, an individual could have a really cool vibe, could be real relaxed, and they might have caught you in a moment when you were free, and they come up in your face and it looks like sparks are flying, but then it's just your tone on another day. It's just their look on a different day where they kind of be like, she kind of different. And what's happening is that the front of our mind isn't saying that. We just be like, oh well, I deal with her later. And we're a lot of times, before we can even focus on how a person has made us feel, our phones and stuff are going off, and we're looking at something on social media, and our kids are calling us, and we forgot that we needed to run to the grocery store. So a lot of us, we're not even paying attention to the feelings that we experience with somebody else. The second reason why women keep hurting you is because, honestly, a lot of us, we really just don't open up our mouths. We don't open up our mouths and say, you know what? I want to talk to you because I feel a little bit weird. I did something one day, and this wasn't even necessarily the most healthy way to do it. But I remember I was going through so much spiritually. And because I'm transparent, I was even putting some of my ish out there on Facebook. And I have two friends that are really close to me. And they would always say, whenever I reach out to them, girl, I was thinking about you. I was going to reach out to you. And I'd be like, yeah. Motherfuckers always thinking about me, but they don't never actually reach out to me. And it actually that ate me up. I just wanted somebody to call me for a change. 'Cause I'm quick to, I'm just checking on you. I'm just seeing how you doing. And so when I hit a real low, and I lost a friend and I lost the baby, I'm baby, I was like just down. I mean, this is recent. This is this year. And I told my friend, I'm like, you know what? I'm just so sick and tired of why y'all always think about me, but y'all don't know if a call. I'm just low key over here upset because, I check on y'all, but y'all don't check on me. And in the midst of my frustration, I was just like, also like, man, look, I'm just frustrated right now and I'm venting because deep in my heart, I know that I could have still reached out to you. If I get out of the tit for tat, if I needed you, would you be there for me? And the answer is yes, because you're here right now and you've been here at those occasions. But if I did not know better today as a woman, I wouldn't have realized that I was going into an emotional rant that had nothing to do with those individuals. And so by me speaking up, though, she was like, you know what, though? I do need to do a better job. And you know what? And at the end of the day, some of us are more sensitive to this than others because I just reached out to her the other day. I was like, hey, I don't want nothing. Just seeing how you doing. She's like, dang it, you beat me again. And unfortunately, 9 times out of 10, I am going to beat somebody. And here's the reason why. And you all need to think about this too. Sometimes you're so caught up in your day and you're so busy being busy that you think about another sister and you don't reach out. And you know why? Because subconsciously you are afraid of how much time it's going to take for you to give to that woman, which means that you're also afraid of how that's going to take away from your schedule and what you will or you won't get done. And if it's one thing that I do know is that a lot of times when I slow down to be there for somebody and I have to totally ignore my schedule, that there's something else beautiful that blossoms out of that. But especially for those of you that are entrepreneur, mission driven, high, intense careers, you got a lot of stuff going on. You have to be in so much freaking control. And so technology is too easy right now to just leave a voice note to say, hey, I thought about you today. I don't necessarily always do as good of a job when I'm promoting events, but I will reach out to somebody in a heartbeat just because. So that's another reason why. But then let's also get into the thing with boundaries. Some of you all, you don't even realize that you go from one extreme to the next. So we got this one extreme over here where you won't fully loosen up. And so you can't allow people to really get that close to you. Then you go to the other extreme. There's no median where it's like, you know what? I just need to be free and I just need to be trusted and I just needed to let it be what it is. Okay. God said to be wise as a serpent, but as gentle as a dove. He didn't say to throw yourself out there all willy-nilly to any and everybody that comes across your path. And so some of you, you're so desperate to get good relationships that the first thing that you experience that feels good to you, you get excited about it. But I want you to really just get to know yourself as an individual so that you can set the right boundaries. And so a lot of us will know that we're supposed to set the boundaries with time. And we know we're supposed to set the boundaries with these key areas, right? But what about the boundaries with your personality? What about the boundaries with your spirit? See, a lot of you all in the ideal concept of being accepting of everybody, you will let anybody into your circle. Now, I'm going to use a professional example to make sure that this really hits close to home. But like, for instance, when people want to be a speaker in my summit, I literally tell them, hey, you're here for two reasons: to understand how this vision came about, number one, but number two, to meet the temperament of the woman you're going to be working with. Because I need you to know, that this is the kind of time fanatic or, person that you're going to be working with. Because if you don't do good with timetables and you're a procrastinator, we're going to bump heads. See, I have the right to not be a certain level of patient that some people are with procrastinators. It just doesn't do me any good. So that's a boundary for me. Now, that doesn't mean I can't still be cool with the person. That doesn't mean I won't support the person, but that means that there's some type of, business collaborations are highly intimate. So I'm not going to work with them. I do the same thing even on Facebook. Sometimes people send me friend requests and I send them a message. Hey, this is me, my favorite color. This is what I like. But let me tell you what I don't like. I don't like being tagged on posts. I don't like you, invite me, to buy your products and service just because you black don't mean I'm going to support you. I'm going to support you because you're excellent. So let's make sure we get to know each other, connect with each other for real, blah, 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 blah. And that sounds really good when I say it. I really believe that it does. A lot of people complimented me, but I've already put the boundaries, even for social media friendships, associations, really out there. And so many of you got the boundaries, what people can or can't say to you, what space can they come in, what does it look like to spend time with you when you have to focus on your work or your business or your studies, and putting the boundaries of people not in jumping over your time for your family. But what about the boundaries for your personality and your spirit? And so when you don't deal with these things, you're going to continue to feel like women are jumping over you and they're taking advantage of you. But last but not least, I'm gonna be honest, trauma. Many of you that are here, you're coming to the event and you know that it's important. But I'm gonna tell you something: women hurt you because of your trauma, because trauma makes you take shit personal even when you shouldn't be, or it'll make it linger. So for instance, I worked with a woman before, and she experienced tremendous success for me. With me, she in a 9-month period, she was almost at 6 figures already. Beautiful experience. Now, she did some tacky stuff. I did call her out on her shit. And all I know is that ever since that day, all of a sudden she completely disappeared. She don't like my posts. She don't like my videos. She don't comment on anything. And I'm not trying to be petty, you all, but if we're going to talk about this, let's talk about it for real. Because we look at people, we be like, damn, you be wanting to give people the benefit of the doubt that they didn't kind of disappeared. They went on a hiatus, but you all start having mutual friends and you're like, no, they still commented on everybody else stuff. And these people share my stuff, but they commented on everything other than that. So they're deliberately not being connected to me. And when I looked at it, I just sat there and I said, oh, well, I have learned that what I do and who I am is a gift from God. I'm only a vessel, and something comes out of my spiritual nature that connects with another person's spiritual nature. And unfortunately, as long as it's beneficial or it feels good, some people may be connected to me. I had to realize that a lot of people love the effect of being in relationship with me, being at my events, being in my coaching programs, but they don't necessarily like the woman. As some people would say, they like the anointing, but that's about it. You know what I'm saying? And so when I realized that, then I have to realize that everybody that Jesus healed, that they didn't like them, but they still got the benefit of a gift that God gave them. And so some of you are more hurt than you need to be by women because you're focusing on what they've done. At the end of the day, she may or may not feel guilty. But if I really look at this with a high level of scrutiny, knowing how much I did for this woman, knowing how many payment arrangements she made, knowing how many extra phone calls I gave her because she was going through some mess, knowing the way that I supported her, knowing the way I helped her open up, knowing that even though she's not connected to me anymore, she learned stuff that she can use and take with her to the end of her days. At the end of the day, when I do the quality assurance check and I ask God if there's something that I did to reveal it to me so that I can understand, and if it still keeps coming up with nada, she didn't reject me. She rejected God. And so a lot of you, when you're dealing with trauma, you're going to take it personal because I realized my trauma was women. Let your mama give you up at 18 months. Let your grandma let her daughters mistreat you and talk to you crazy. Be raised by aunties that tell you look like a hoe in certain outfits so that you're going to be one when you grow up, or need someone else's man, or use your money and don't pay you back, or question why they can't get discounts when you do their hair. Be that woman and grow up, and then you will not even realize that subconsciously you already have distrust for women because the key women in your life let you down. I had to realize that for myself. Their behaviors were so insane with me that I actually hurt a woman. I hurt a former coach because she did something that looked like something that my aunts did, but it wasn't even the same thing. But I took the characteristics of behaviors from them and something that she did and didn't look at the motives. See, people can have similar behaviors, but you have to know the motives. And I'll explain this to you all at a later date. I may even add this as a bonus segment to the current summit because I think it's so important for us as women to truly understand how to heal by looking at the way that we deal in relationships with one another, that I had to say, dang, my aunties and them, they used to brag on me and it used to be for their gain. When this person was bragging on me and it also looked like it was going to bring clientele for her, it's only because she loved me. And when God gave me that epiphany, it took a year, y'all. It took an entire year for me to have the epiphany. I had to graciously reach out to her, pray to God that she would be willing to hear me out and apologize to her. And so that was a layer of my trauma that I stripped away. And as soon as I did an event, I had a woman steal some of my proprietary information and I was betrayed immediately. But I knew that this woman was desperate. I knew that she had a business where she wasn't really making any money. And so it wasn't even about me. It was about me. It was about my confidence. It was about the way I showed up. It was about how intense my events were. She wanted what I had, and I realized that she couldn't be who I was. And if she really wanted what I had in the form of the version of it for herself, she should have been staying connected with me. Not even necessarily a client, but just being connected. Because when you're around high achieving people, you begin to achieve high levels of success too. So the bottom line is once everything was said and done, I had to look at it and say, wait a minute, I see how this is spiritual warfare. I just declared my freedom. I claimed my freedom and operated in the spirit of freedom by apologizing to someone that I hurt, even though I've been hurt all of these times, because I can see how not being able to be connected with women is going to stagnate my growth. It's going to stagnate the mission that God has put inside of me. Because here's the honest to goodness truth. I work really, really good with women, baby. Well, I'm a collaboration queen. I cultivate environments where we get along, we get shit done together, and it's so doggone off the chain that many of these women, they do exactly what they're supposed to do. They're not only supposed to collaborate when I create something, they go out and they collaborate and create opportunities and do things together. So me bringing in all of these random people ain't so random. And so women will keep on hurting you because you haven't identified with your trauma. You haven't healed through your pain and you're still dealing with some issues. So with all of that being said, that's my nugget for over here. I just wanted to reach out to you guys. For the many of you that are newcomers, thank you for being here. Some of you are watching this on YouTube. You're like, I'm not a newcomer to nothing. Well, you need to be. You need to go to the augustcrenshaw.com website. You need to go to the Worthy tab and sign up for the summit. Many of the people have come over to the Authentic Collective community to be a part of this. Those of you that have signed up for the Authentic Collective community, you need to make sure you're coming into the No More Trauma group, because this clock is just, it's coming along. And before you know it, the event is going to be here. And then on top of that, we're doing a fantastic opening ceremony. And I want to see you all there. So let's just take a look at. I'll wait and see what kind of comments you get. Your comments always stimulate what my responses are and what kind of information I put out there. If you're like, okay, August, but what about this situation? Or, oh, girl, I feel you, but I'm asking you this. And let's have a conversation, because most of us, we got to stop believing them lies that women don't work good together. Or as I was taught, too much coochie in one house stinks. Women ain't supposed to be grouped up like that. We got to stop that. So we can say things like real women don't compete, they collaborate. But if our heart is hurting, we're not going to be able to live out that truth. So that's your nugget for today. Want to keep it under 20 minutes. I love you guys, and I'm going to get out of here. Deuces.